gentlemen, we have additional topic to get into here. And look, this one comes the way of comicbook.com. And they are the ones who reported on a story that comes the way of the original poster, and that's Ecstasies. Now, Ecstasies, he has a great track record. He has an even greater back catalog of people he speaks to that remain unnamed, and they're considered sources. Now, I saw some people in the chat saying, yeah, that Ecstasies guy, I don't trust him. Look, folks, I'm not going to fight with you if you don't believe him. I'm not going to fight with you if you don't trust him. I know him personally. We talk on a regular basis. I've had him on the show a couple of times. His connections are legit. Now, does he get things wrong? Guess what? We all do. You got to remember, you're talking to someone that you don't normally know. You're not hanging out with them and drinking a Dr. Pepper or ginger ale. And you're taking what they're saying and you're putting it out there in the socials. And when you put yourself out there, sometimes you get it wrong. I've gotten it wrong. I've gotten it right just as many times. And so is he. And the story that we're talking about is Elder Scrolls 6 report gives release date update, and it's getting close, folks. And you know what? It almost sounds too good to be true, and here's why. So, and we're going to get to what Ecstasies had to say more specifically, but this story from comicbook.com was written by Tyler Fisher. So, of course, I have already added this to the show notes. So you want to check it out and read the article for yourself, by all means, give Tyler that click because it is a well-written story. Gentlemen, it goes on to simply say, following the release of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster earlier this year, demand for Skyrim successor, aka the Elder Scrolls 6, continues to surge within the community. It has been 7 years since Bethesda's first announced the game, and as much time that has passed since the announcement, there's been a lot of time that has passed between the announcement and the release of Skyrim. It's been almost 14 years, and I didn't know it was that long, and counting since Skyrim, and Bethesda remains dead silent on the Elder Scrolls 6. That has not changed, but what we do have is a new report from an insider known as Ecstasies. The new report comes the way of a well-known industry insider, especially when it comes to Xbox. The insider did not divulge much about the Elder Scrolls 6 in the new YouTube upload, but he did touch on the subject. And according to the insider, which of course is Ecstasies, Bethesda Game Studios and Xbox are preparing to release the Elder Scrolls 6 sometime in 2027. If true, this would mean that there would be a maximum of 27 months away from the long-awaited RPG sequel, assuming that it would release no later than December of 2027. It would probably release during October or November, though the wait is likely even shorter than this. Now, this is an interesting story, gentlemen and chat, and here's why. So we know that next year is going to be the 25th anniversary of Xbox, the platform itself, Master Chief Cortana, and of course, Halo Combat Evolved. That's not the only anniversary, though. You have the anniversary of Gears of War, the 20th anniversary of Gears of War, and we know that Thursday, we're going to be getting potentially the release or the trailer for the next line in the Forza Horizon series, and is expected to be in Japan because, well, the Tokyo Game Show is happening, and that would be world-breaking news. So next year, just on its cuff, you have the trilogy or the trinity of what makes Xbox Xbox, and that is a new Gears in Gears of War E-Day, a new Halo of some sorts, whether that be the remake, a new multiplayer, or both, and you also have a new Forza Horizon coming out next year. Just those three alone is enough to be like, you know what? This is insane. But then you have State of Decay potentially coming out, Fable is coming out, Clockwork Revolution is coming out, Modern Warfare 4 is coming out, And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's 8 games, ladies and gentlemen, potentially releasing in 2026 with the rumored OEM box underneath the TV, which I believe is going to be from Asus. But then you move to 2027. And what's happening in 2027? Well, there's a lot happening, ladies and gentlemen, because according to numerous people, numerous sources I've spoken with, numerous rumors that have come out, 2027 is supposed to levy not one, but 2 Microsoft designed and produced pieces of hardware. One is going to be the box underneath the TV, and the other one is going to be what's rumored. And again, folks, it's a rumor, the dockable handheld Switch-like device. And those are going to be from Xbox. But I got to tell you, it would be one heck of a story to launch your 2 new pieces of hardware with an Elder Scrolls 6 at the same time. And again, it's going to be probably a game that releases everywhere day one. You might get it, you're definitely going to get it on PC. You're definitely going to get it on PS5. You might even get it on Switch too. Who knows? But it's going to be a big deal. Jamie Moran, let's get your thoughts on XSE's report that this could be a launch title in 2027 for the new pieces of hardware from Xbox.
Sorry, which title is this again?
Elder Scrolls
6. Right. I'm all over the place today. It makes sense because it started full production. I think it was at the same month Starfield launched, so that was 2023. And it was already in pre-production for a while, and I think they've actually been able to make games a lot quicker than they used to. Because look, the last time we had a new Elder Scrolls game was 2011 with Skyrim.
It's been a minute, dude.
Yeah, it's been a while, and I think it's time. Yeah. They learned a lot while making Starfield with the engine, because it's the new version of the Creation Engine, and the timing just seems right. We've kind of heard 2026, 2027 for the past 2 years now. I think that if you're Microsoft and you want to make a big splash, because when it comes to next-gen launch consoles, it's kind of been up in the air for the past several months. Like we originally heard it was going to be 2026. Now it's going to be 2027. It's gone back and forth several times. If they hypothetically are launching in 2027, which I think would be better for everyone, the price of everything at the minute, I think people would be okay with an extra year in this generation. 2027 with a new Elder Scrolls game would be unprecedented for Microsoft for a launch, because if you go back to the Xbox Series consoles, they didn't have a first-party launch title outside of Gears Tactics.
Yep.
So if you launch with an Elder Scrolls game, like, that's going to make people want to buy it, because obviously you're going to have people go, is it going to be exclusive or not? It doesn't matter. Like, if Xbox is truly going first and it is a next-gen launch title or next-gen title, then yeah, it would be only on Xbox. But there's been different leaks in the past when it comes to Elder Scrolls, when it comes to things like shipbuilding and the way cities work and stuff. Like, it's going to be a bold game. All these leaks and rumors kind of come from the same place. I actually tend to believe these ones. So, like, I 100% believe that it will be coming in 2027, because, they need to make Fallout 5 at some point, and they need to get that out at some point as well. So, I could totally see that happening. The thing about Elder Scrolls, that was announced way too early. I don't even know why it was announced the way it was. I have a little theory as to why it was announced back in 2016, 2017, something like that. I think it was announced because that was around about the same time Microsoft was looking into buying Bethesda, or Bethesda was wanting to be bought out, and that was kind of an incentive, in my opinion. But yeah, it all kind of lines up if you think about it. I think the thing about Elder Scrolls and Bethesda games is that they tend to actually just announce their game 6 months before release. They did the same with Fallout. They did the same with a couple of the Wolfenstein games. Indiana Jones was announced way in advance, but then we got the gameplay trailer 9 months prior. So I think that they're going to go quiet on this game, and then we're actually going to just see the full-on trailer for it. Let's call it E3 or the Summer Showcase 2025 or 2027, should I say? And it'll be a huge launch for them. Because let's say next year they are launching with the rumored, Halo, Gears, State of Decay, Fable, Forza. My God, it goes on and goes on. Like 2027, we have no idea what they're coming out with. Absolutely no idea. So if Elder Scrolls is their quote unquote big game, their big launch game, it would be huge for them. Because, as we can see right now, it looks like these console manufacturers are kind of done with launching consoles at a loss. Unfortunate for us, right? So it kind of looks that way. So you're going to have a huge incentive for people to buy into your console. Because, look, I think the Xbox Series X is the best console, right? I think, it launched at a good price. I think it's a solid piece of hardware. However, it just didn't launch with the right set of games. It really didn't. Like, don't get me wrong. The first game I fired up on that thing was Assassin's Creed Valhalla, pre-patch, when it was native 4K 60 frames per second, and I was blown away by it. But there was no first-party software outside of Gears Tactics, and you could have played that on Xbox One. I think the way gaming's going, they really going to need next-gen only titles at launch. And Elder Scrolls, like, if you have just one game and one main game as a first-party title, and it's an Elder Scrolls game, you've got a winner there. You're going to have people buying your console day one because, again, these consoles, they're no longer going to be sold at a loss. So you need a bloody good incentive to get people to move on to the next generation. And outside of a Grand Theft Auto or a Fallout, Elder Scrolls is going to be it. And going off all the rumors and leaks and stuff, I 1000% believe that's happening.
I mean, dude, great points across the board. Look, this is a game, ladies and gentlemen, that if it launched with a new piece of hardware, could potentially move hardware. Now, again, the hardware for 27 is rumored. Things change. But as we know, they're working on hardware. It's rumored that one's dockable, meaning their Xbox is handheld. I don't know how many OEM devices are going to release from this October until potentially the launch window of this new console or pair of consoles in 27, if it happens. But needless to say, this is going to sell millions and millions of copies. It's going to be an Xbox Game Pass. It's going to be potentially a launch title. That's the rumor anyway, and it would be a really big deal. Umbra, I got one additional piece of context that I want to use here for this story from comicbook.com. And this is very interesting. It goes on to say, reveal soon with a question mark. If the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to release in 2027, according to the story, then it's almost certain there's going to be a reveal next year, probably at the Xbox Summer Showcase or press conference, which it does every June. And for what it's worth, according to the story, there has been a rumor that's been floating around that a new trailer has been ready for quite some time. Now, obviously, they're going to have to update that trailer. I mean, I'll put it this way. Who's to say that trailer that's rumored to be ready to go doesn't show up at something like, I don't know, the Game Awards at the end of this year? And again, it's just be a teaser trailer to what you'd get in 27. But I do think that you could get both. You can get the trailer at the end of this year, and it's a rumor, right, that is done and ready to go. And maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But I would guarantee you, and we know how Todd Howard and Bethesda are, usually a year before a game is supposed to release, that year prior it's always at either Bethesda's own event or at, now that they're owned by Microsoft, would be at the Xbox Summer Showcase. Let's get your thoughts on the potential of this being a launch title in 27.
Yeah, I would be highly surprised if it even dropped in 27, but the game has been in development since 2018.
It's I think since the end of Starfield, to be honest with you.
So there is that. We do have a few, I guess, some very trustworthy names that are supporting it. From how do you say his name? Ecstasies? How do you say it?
Ecstasies is how it's pronounced. I used to get it wrong all the time. Also,
I'm going to request that their brother change his name spelling. My brain is not Gen X. I can't handle all those different letters and such.
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, from him saying, and he's been right about more than a few things. I know he's got some things wrong, but things change. So I'm not like some of the people were like, well, he got this wrong. Yeah, things change. Like, they're not going to be 100%. I'll take the good with the bad as far as when it comes to leaks. So yeah, but you got other people that kind of spoke on this before. In July, you had Jazz spoke on it. Jazz had said that it was already quite playable internally, and that a new trailer could be in the works possibly for next year at the Xbox Game Showcase. So you had him, you had our brother who I haven't spoken to in a while, Skolzy had also spoke on it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Skolzy's a big Bethesda fan.
Yeah, huge.
So he said that it's likely set in Hammerfell, evolved politics, betrayals, all that. I'm gonna guess it's gonna have some of that Games of Thrones-esque kind of story going with it. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, could possibly be for sure.
Raquel gave me a Gen X name with all the X's around it. And then we had the old FTC leak, which spoke on it too, which did say that the earliest would possibly be in 2026. We know that wasn't going to be the case, but it did say that would be likely Hammerfell as well. And there's many fans of the series that spoke on it too, that said that they believe Hammerfell will be the next location. Super fans of the series that know more than I would ever know. So yeah, man, it sounds really good. I would hope, and I mean, to be fair, the new current iteration of Creation Engine is dope enough where I feel like they could pull out some great visuals on it. I would hope that they get maybe a next iteration for that if it's going to be next gen to push it that much more. I would like it to be a showstopper as far as visuals and things like that and gameplay. With their physics and then things like that the Creation Engine allows for. That would be really cool. I know that I believe the area it's in, I don't know if it allows for like dragons and all that. I think that's more in a Skyrim area of that world. So I'm interested in seeing how they'll play it out. But yeah, man, super excited for this. I'll take it very serious that you have so many, in my view at least, so many trustworthy people speaking on it, saying that it's a real thing that is playable and that it's likely to drop in 27. Again, it's been 8 years, so it's more than enough time for it to have, I guess, at least have something playable to show. And even if not necessarily to show us gameplay, they could show a CGI trailer and say, hey, this is what it is. Elder Scrolls 6 Hammerfell, right? Whatever.
Yeah, that could be the name of it for sure.
Yeah, and there are no slouch when it comes to CGI trailers either. Like, they have some great CGI trailers up there, in my opinion, next to maybe just under WoW when it comes to that. So they could show us something nice at next year's Xbox Showcase to announce it, or at least not announce it, but to show where they're at with the progress and things like that, or give us an idea of where they could be. Yeah, I don't have much else, I guess, to really elaborate on with it or say on that, but just excited to see it. Big fan of Elder Scrolls Oblivion being on my Mount Rushmore. So this is all great news for me to hear.